You're listening to WERALP Arlington 96.7 FM. Disclaimer. Please seek the advice of a financial or legal professional in any and all business ventures. This show does not constitute financial or legal advice. And now, the show that helps you go from wannapreneur to entrepreneur. The Swift Kick Show with Timothy D. Craggett. Entrepreneurial tips and advice with a kick. Here's Tim.
Welcome to the Swift Kick Show here on WERA 96.7 FM. Today is December 15. We're a couple weeks away from the holiday season and such. Let's just get right to the first kick. So this whole thing of being an author is one of the best ways for anybody to start a business because expertise is a easy business to get into. But the whole thing of the publishing world is where it's a little bit difficult. Now, there's so many avenues right now where anyone can be a published author. Self-publishing has picked up, print on demand has picked up. But it's another thing to actually go the traditional route and find yourself an agent and all those other types of things. And it's a dog-eat-dog world. The whole days of just being able to say, hey, I got a book and you give me some money and put it out in the world, it's a lot more difficult. The internet has changed the world and it's not as simple as just being someone that quote unquote is innovative. And I thought that I would actually bring somebody on that's done this numerous times. And I'm super excited to kind of have my guest here. What I want you to get from this when we go through this show is that the world of entrepreneurship, as far as being an expert, is a valid one, and it's actually pretty exciting once you actually get into it. So let's not waste any more time. I'll be right back.
Did you know this is only the beginning? There's always more show just for you. We have exclusive interviews and bonus content to help you on your journey into entrepreneurship. Go to www.swiftkickshow.com to learn more.
And welcome back to the Swift Kick Show here on WERA 96.7 FM. I am your host, Timothy D. Craggett. And the guest that I have for you today, I'm really happy that he's here because it's not very often that I can get someone that's actually hit the list to be on the show. Being at the show is still relatively new, but you get what I'm saying. But this is actually a really cool friend of mine, and I figured he would provide extreme value for you guys. So let me tell you a little bit about him, and then I'll go ahead and bring him in. So this person has been seen on ABC, on Fox News, HSN, Good Morning America, NBC, People Magazine has had him on today. And what I actually found was funny was actually the Wendy Williams appearance. We might go into that. We might not. I don't know. But needless to say, this person that I have is a New York Times bestselling author. And that's a major accomplishment that I'm excited to say that I'm one association away from the New York Times. So that's pretty cool. But overall, the person that I'm bringing is an awesome person, awesome guy. And I'm just really excited that he's here on the Swift Kick Show. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to present to you Ron Douglas. So Ron, how you doing, my friend?
Hey, Tim, man, doing great. That's some intro. You really raised the bar, man. I don't know if I can live up to all that.
Dude, man, you've done more TV that I'm aware of than anybody else. So no, it's awesome. It's well deserved, and yeah, you're just cool. So embrace it. It's fun.
I've done just enough TV that I can still go to the mall and nobody knows who I am. Just enough. Any more, I might have to stop and take selfies.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. So let's get right to it. So let's talk about this whole authorship thing, because it seems like it's a mystery for anyone who's never really learn the inner workings of being an author, especially in today's climate of so many books being released. You can't help but going into a Barnes and Noble or whatever bookstore, and you just see tons of books. So what are the first steps for anybody interested in actually taking their ideas and putting it into book form?
Well, the first step is I see a lot of people who want to write a book, and there's a difference between just writing a book about what you want to talk about,
Yeah,
and writing a book that's marketable, that's going to sell a lot of copies that other people will want to know about.
okay.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to decide which one you want to do, right? And if your book accomplishes both, then that's awesome. But my thing is, like, if you want to sell books, you have to focus on what people want to buy, what people want to read, what people are into.
Right.
First, like, start there. Start with them instead of focusing so much on yourself. And the other thing I would say is I don't know much about writing a nonfiction book.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a fiction book, rather. I don't know much about writing fiction books. I know about writing nonfiction books about topics that people want to know about. I mean, it's much more difficult with a fiction book because how do you reach your audience? How do you find them? How do you know who's interested in that topic? With a nonfiction book, with something that's an educational type book or instruction book or a cookbook, which is the books I've written, you know exactly where to go to find those people. You know, you can find them online. You can find people that are interested in different topics, and you can market the book directly to them. With a fiction book, it's much more difficult to do. With that, to really make it pop, you have to find influencers. You have to find people who already have an audience you can give a free copy of your book and get them to recommend it. Or you have to be a celebrity already, right? Somebody that people want to hear from already.
Right.
So that's the way I look at those things.
So when coming up with an idea, and we're going to stay within the nonfiction range since, of course, that's your expertise. How do you actually get that idea of yours and organize it in a way where you can actually turn it into a book? Because there's so many different avenues. What is the simplest way of organizing information?
Right. The simplest way is to make an outline and to focus each chapter on a particular topic that you want to get across to the reader.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So you want to organize your thoughts into a sensible outline and organize each chapter, break down each chapter into different components and make sure they all tie together and fit together and are sequential. Right. If you want to learn how to be a better parent, for instance, if you're writing a book about being a better parent, you want to break down that topic into the subtopics that people need to know, and then break down each subtopic into the different components and write an outline and then use that as the basis for your book. Organize your thoughts that way before you start writing it. People have different opinions on that topic, but I like to see the end goal before I start just writing. Right. So one of the things I would do is I would just brainstorm, get a legal pad, a piece of paper, and just write down as many things about that topic as you can, brainstorm, and then start trying to fit it in and structure it into different topics within an outline. So just kind of do a brain dump of everything you know and you want to talk about that topic. Sometimes I even do that in Excel, like the computer program, Microsoft Excel.
Yeah.
Have a line for each individual topic and just dump everything I want to talk about onto one spreadsheet, and then go back, and Excel makes it easy to copy and paste and reorganize your topics into subtopics and organize it that way.
So once you have this idea pretty much collected, you did a big brain dump and it's time for the writing process. How does it work for you? What are the steps for moving from extrapolated data to starting to kind of turn those things into written word?
Well, it's just one chapter at a time, right? Once I organize chapters and I know which ideas go in each chapter,
yeah,
then I can start working on one chapter at a time.
Do you ever worry about what you want
to talk about in those chapters?
Okay. Do you ever worry about what you want to say? Do you ever find yourself kind of writing and then rewriting as you're writing, or do you just go balls to the wall and you just write whatever comes out?
I would write whatever comes out and then go back and edit it later. That's the way I like to do it.
Is it simpler for you that way?
I think so. I think it is. I mean, if you keep second guessing yourself and going back and edit stuff, editing and you can never get through. You'd just be like going in circles. So sometimes I just like to let it flow and see what comes out. But as long as I have that structure as to what I want to talk about, then I could just kind of be more spontaneous with it and within those guidelines of what I've outlined.
Excellent. Is there a certain rule of thumb as far as how many words per page you go for, or do you just write and then you just figure out what the end goal product is going to look like and then you kind of move your pages to suit?
Well, I mean, you can set it up if you want to have a 200-page book or 150. Say you want to have a 150-page book and you want to have 10 chapters, then you would just do 15 pages each chapter. And then, once you have that mapped out, you can say, okay, I want to try to get 15 pages for this chapter, and I want to have 10 chapters for this 150-page book. And if you write it write it out in Word, each page is going to be bigger than the actual page in a book. Because usually a book is like 6x9, a regular book. So you're going to have more content than you need if you do it that way. So.
And that's mostly just a written word. That's not including when you're adding graphics or anything later on in the process, right?
Yeah, exactly. And another thing you can do is you can have someone interview you, just like you're interviewing me, and get that interview recorded and transcribed and piece that together into a book as well. So, a lot of people, if they're just waiting to write that book themselves, they might never get to it, right? I know people that have been talking about writing a book for 6, 7, 8 years. Still haven't done it, right? Just sitting on that idea. One day I'm going to write this book.
Yeah.
A quicker way to do it is just to hire somebody to record you and then have that recording transcribed and then use that as content for the book and then edit it from there.
Well, since you brought that up, is that an expensive process for people or is that pretty reasonably priced?
I mean, you can get that all done for under probably $600-$700. To get it all recorded and transcribed, depending on how long it is. I mean, if you want to hire a ghostwriter to do it, I would say under $1,000, you can get that done.
Okay. So in this day and age, it's definitely doable for anybody to create a book, it seems. Yeah,
there are writers out there that are just eager for jobs. Like one of my sites is a writing site, and I have a bunch of freelance writers on there that are always looking for work. You can find people right on Craigslist too that are just hungry for work that would love to get involved in a project like that.
Cool. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and take ourselves a really, really quick break, do a little bit of reset, and then let's actually get into the marketing part, which is the really exciting thing that I wanted to get to. So we're going to take a really quick break. You're listening to the Swift Kick Show here on WERA.
The conversation doesn't end here. We'd love to hear from you so we can better provide you more great content and some fun stuff. To learn more, go to www.facebook.com/Swift Kick Show. Look forward to being friends.
Welcome back to the Swift Kick Show. I am Timothy D. Craighead with my guest here, Ron Douglas. And if you're just turning in, we were talking a little bit about the whole book writing process, just some really quick tips and such. But we're going to get into like the really nitty gritty stuff, the things that excite me. And that's actually hitting a person with your book in hand. So earlier you talked about in the nonfiction space, it's a lot easier to kind of find who you want to sell your book to. Well, one, why is that? And two, how do we go from a book to something we can actually market?
Right. Can you repeat that question? I'm sorry, I dozed off for a second. How do we go from to a book we can actually market?
Yeah, how do we go from an idea that we've already conceived, we've written pretty much our treatment or our manuscript per se, and now we're ready to make this into a book? How do we move from the written book to actually putting it in somebody's hands?
When you say somebody's hands, you mean like selling the actual book?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, you want to get an editor. You want to get a typesetter. A typesetter is somebody that's going to go in and lay out your book in the proper format. If you want to have a 6x9 book, he'll lay it out for you, or you can figure out how to do that yourself. I mean, if you're self-publishing, it's a little bit different than if you have a book deal. Usually, if you have a book deal, you really just send your manuscript, an electronic version of it, to your publisher, and they have a team that does all that stuff. They have their editor, they have their typesetter, they have proofreader, and all that stuff. But if you're doing it yourself, you might want to hire somebody, because the worst thing is trying to edit your own book. Right? After writing it yourself and to go back and edit it, you need a fresh pair of eyes to go in and do that for you, because it's going to be a lot of stuff there that you missed because you wrote it yourself. So you want a professional to go line by line, edit it, make sure it's all cleaned up. And then after that, I mean, if you're self-publishing, you could sell it on Amazon. You could use CreateSpace to get your book actually created. CreateSpace is an Amazon company where you would upload your manuscript to CreateSpace, and they would lay your book out and create a book out of it and help you publish it right on Amazon.com. And there's other channels too. There's BarnesandNobles.com you can sell on. So it's difficult to get in bookstores though if you don't have a book deal. Right? You could find what's called a vanity publisher.
Right.
But you definitely need a publisher behind it. A vanity publisher is someone that will kind of just slap their publishing name on it, but not necessarily give you all the benefits of a traditional publisher in terms of distribution.
Right.
But they will slap your name on it and make you eligible to get a better distribution yourself if you want to go ahead and try to get into the bookstores and different physical locations like that.
Are there any added benefits as far as being with, let's say, a vanity press or even a major publisher versus just publishing the book yourself?
Yeah, the credibility that they have. I mean, if you have a book that has a mass appeal, I would say getting a book deal with a major publisher gives you a lot of credibility, gives you their distribution. My books are with Simon & Schuster.
Right.
So they have that major distribution. They have a sales team that can get you in all those different bookstores because they have that relationship already with them, right?
Right.
A vanity publisher may not have the same relationships, but it's still a brand you can leverage to say, I'm published with this brand, right? I'm published with this publishing house.
Right.
It adds a lot of credibility rather than just saying, I have a self-published book and I'm published with myself. It's a little bit more credibility if you say I'm published with Simon & Schuster or I'm published with, this vanity publishing company.
Okay. Let's just take a look at that really quick, and then we'll move back into the whole marketing part of it. What would someone look for if they were trying to actually, quote unquote, sell their book to a publisher?
Well, you would have to find a literary agent. Publishers usually work with literary agents directly. And you want to find a literary agent who specializes in the book topic that you're writing about.
Mm-hmm.
And who has relationships and some experience. And they usually take 15% of whatever you get in terms of royalties and advances.
Right.
But they get you in the door. They have the relationships with the publishers, and the publishers like to work through a literary agent. Similar to like if you're going through to get a job, the hiring manager likes to work through human resources first to kind of screen off the people that aren't qualified.
Right.
Well, the same thing with a publisher. They like to work with the literary agent and let them do that. So that's what you want to do. There's sites online where you can find literary agents and you can do a distribution of your book idea to that literary agent, to a bunch of literary agents, and find one that's interested in your topic.
Okay.
See if I can find the site for a literary agent. Agent Query is a site that actually you can use to do distribution to literary agents. Find literary agents who are interested in books related to your topic. But I'll tell you, the number one thing with getting a book deal, beyond all other things, is do you have a platform? Can you sell books on your own?
Okay, so let's explore that. So the normal person, especially if they're just starting out, probably doesn't have that big of a platform / audience. First, why is that important?
Because the book publishing industry is really a dying industry. Amazon.com is really eating their lunch, right? It's a low margin business because they have to pay for their salespeople, they have to pay for their office space, they have all these overhead expenses, and then they're selling these books wholesale to the bookstores, right? So it's a low margin business. So they don't want to take on deals because typically they'll give you an advance. Like my first book deal, I got a $100,000 advance to do 2 books. There was a 2-book deal agreement, $100,000 advance. And they want to make sure that they're going to get their money back, right? They're investing in you.
Right.
And even if they give you a much smaller advance, they still have to invest in your project in order to get your book published, right? So they want to make sure it's a sure bet. They want to make sure that once they give you this book, that people actually are going to be interested in buying your book. And if you can demonstrate that you have a platform, that you're known, that you have a following, that you have an audience, that you have some type of distribution for this book, they're more than likely to give you a book deal.
So if someone was looking to start to build an audience, what are some of the tools out there that that are winners that someone could start with?
Well, you can start with social media. I mean, Facebook Live is really hot right now. Believe it or not, you could take a Facebook Live, you could do a Facebook Live video and take that video, upload it to Facebook and run ads, little ads to that video. Really cheap. I mean, you can get like 2-3 cent views on that just to kind of build up awareness for your brand. But one of the main things I did is you want to start to build an audience, build an email list, build a group, build a page on Facebook where you could point to like, look, these are all the people that follow me. I have an email list of 10,000 people. I have a Facebook page of 50,000 people. You could point to these things directly in your book proposal to show, listen, I have this platform. You guys should invest some money in my book deal. So one of the things I use is called an autoresponder account, which enables you to put up a form on your site or on your blog where people can give you their email address, right? And then you in exchange for something. So you want to have some type of offer that they're interested in, whether it be a free chapter of your book, whether it be some type of thing that you would normally charge for, but you're giving it away for free just to get people to give their email address, just to get people to register for your site.
Excellent. So we're going to actually do this in the extra. So for more information right now, though, you can go to www.swiftkick.com/Ron to get more information. So Ron, thank you so much for being on the Swift Kick Show.
Thank you. It was my pleasure. A lot of fun.
Thanks. And we're going to take ourselves a really, really quick break. You're listening to the Swift Kick Show here on WERA 96.7 FM.
Shows like this need your help to continue broadcasting through radio for the Arlington, Virginia community and online. Donations from listeners like you help create great programming to enrich the mind and spirit. To help WERA 96.7 and its commitment to promote community-based radio, please go to www.wera.fm and click on the donate button. Every little bit counts, so please kick in a little. Again, go to www.wera.fm. And now, for more of the Swift Kick Show with Timothy D. Craggett.
So now it's time for the last kick of the day. So, yes, Ron, you are awesome. Thank you for being on. Thank you for doing this. Really appreciate it. I just want to kind of encapsulate everything and make sure that you guys don't forget you can hear more of Ron on iTunes, Stitcher, and so forth. The world of being a published author is in some ways a pretty fruitful one if you're lucky enough to get a book deal done. But let's not forget the key things that Ron mentioned. We were talking about, building up an audience. We're talking about having maybe your book being pre-sold before you even go and take it to a full-on publisher. It's not just a world where your great idea can survive on its own, But I think Ron did a really, really great job of encapsulating that right now is the best time for anyone, and I mean anyone, to write that book that they've always wanted to write. And as far as being an online business model, it's actually a pretty simple one, because it's just gathering your ideas and putting it down on paper and finding a way to get it out into an audience. So I say, if you have that book burning inside of you, you need to get it out. There's no better time than right now to get that book out of your head and in someone's hands. Trust me, the world needs your book. So with that, I will see you guys next week here on the Swift Kick Show on WERA 96.7 FM. I am Timothy D. Craigat. Check you next week.
You've been listening to the Swift Kick Show with Timothy D. Craigat. For more information and bonus content, go to www.swiftkickshow.com. Tune in next week for another kick.
Welcome to the extra for the Swift Kick Show here exclusively on iTunes and Stitcher. Again, I have my awesome guest, Ron Douglas. If you didn't get a chance to listen to the main show, please make sure that you check the archive. But let's actually get right into some really, really deep author stuff. So on the show, we talked about, the process of kind of moving your idea into the book and figuring how to do some marketing. And we talked a little bit about pre-sale, though we didn't get really specific. Let's start off with this. So someone has an idea for their book and they've been sitting on it. What motivation can someone have to finally just say, I'm just going to go ahead and just do this book?
You need to give yourself a deadline. You need a deadline. Like, I can't get anything done without a deadline, right?
Right.
But I work so much better with the deadline. Like, right up until that deadline, a couple days before that deadline, I'm like a ninja with it. If I don't have a deadline, though, I just find one reason after the next not to do it. Oh, I got to do this today. I'll get to that later.
Right.
So you have to have a goal, but you have to also have a goal with a specific deadline to it. And it helps if that deadline is a public deadline, right? For that public accountability. So you can put it out there on social media saying, I'm going to have this book. Like, announce it ahead of time. Put some pressure on yourself to get it done. That's the only way to, for most people, to get that motivation to really get it done. Because at the end of the day, you do what you have to do.
Right.
People do what they have to do. And people are motivated by what they have to do. It's nothing more motivating than something you absolutely have to do. So you got to kind of set up a scenario for yourself where you feel like you have to do it, and then you end up knocking it out. And the other thing is, it's just a little bit at a time. Just get started, get into a flow, and just do a little bit every day until you've knocked it out.
Are there any systems that you like or have used in the past in order to get any of your writing material done? Not just books, but anything you've written, whether it be copy, whether it's post or even what you do on Facebook when you're writing out your post for the before you answer that, the post that you did where you had people caption your photo,
right?
That was hilarious. But that type of social engagement is I guess a key of getting people involved in you. But back to the question, what little steps can someone take that can move them forward that you found as a really good system for you?
Yeah, right. Actually, right now, as we speak, I've been writing a book, but kind of like one post at a time. Because one thing that having a social media following does for you is it gives you immediate feedback to your posts.
Interesting.
Right? So I've been writing a book one post at a time, and the posts that get the most engagement is what I'm going to include in the book.
Huh.
Right? So sometimes I just think of something deep that I put in that book, make a post about it, and see what the feedback is, and say, okay, well, I'm going to include that in the book, and I'll make a note of it. And then the other stuff, I'm like, okay, well, that didn't hit. I'm not going to include that in the book because I already know they're not feeling it. Right? So Facebook has this tool, believe it or not, and I'm pretty sure Instagram might have it too, where you can do a data dump of all your posts. You could dump everything out and have a version of all your posts all in one place. So you don't have to scroll. You could have it in a file somewhere on your computer that you can easily copy and paste and extract from. So that's a really cool feature that most people don't even know that Facebook has. You could dump everything, your entire history, your pictures, your images, your posts, everything, even your comments, likes, everything you've done on there, you could just dump right out onto your computer into a file.
That is kind of scary to know that that much information about yourself is not just collected, but stored. But I love that you actually use it in a way where it's actually creating a dynamic archive for you. So that's actually pretty smart. Now,
yeah. Well, you don't think that stuff that you post on there is not public. Everything is public on there, even pictures. Did you know that every picture you post on social media, they actually host the pictures on a public site, right? So you can go to any private picture on social media, right click on that picture, and then say open it in a new tab or something, and it'll show you a public website where they're actually hosting these images. So nothing on there.
Really?
Someone can grab that link and share your picture with anybody. So anything you post on there, you think is private, it's not.
Wow.
Not private at all. It's all. I mean, some things only your friends can see it, but if someone wanted to dig deeper, like law enforcement,
yeah,
they can figure out exactly what's going on. They could even subpoena your information if they needed to.
Oh my goodness! Wow. Okay, so for those of you that are listening, think about what you do before you post. But in the other frame of things, think about what you're posting because you can actually create something from it.
Right. But here's another thing I wanted to mention before I forget.
Go for it.
Is if you're an expert on any topic, you want to have a book, right? Even if you're an attorney or an accountant or a chiropractor, whatever it is, having a book makes you a lot more credible and attracts people to you like you wouldn't believe.
Why do you think that is?
Because it's something about a book that people just see as credible. Like, okay, you're a published author on the topic. Not only are you an accountant, you're a published author on the topic of accounting. You have the book out on how to avoid paying taxes like Donald Trump. You know what I mean? You wrote the book on that. So it's like people come to you, it's just so much more credible. Who would you want to go to if you had two different accountants? One was a regular accountant, been doing it for 10 years. The other one's a regular accountant, been doing it for 10 years, but he also wrote the book on how to save on your taxes.
Right.
Like, okay, this guy seems a lot more credible, right? So it's like that. Just having a book is instant credibility for whatever you're doing. And also you attract people to your practice, to your business by having that book because they buy your book. They see it on different Amazon and different book places, bookstores and whatnot. And they come to you because of that. In the book, you could sell yourself. You could sell your services. You could have an advertisement for yourself in that book, and you could use it as a lead gen, right? You could also go to events and instead of giving out business cards, give out a copy of your book. Right? It just adds a lot of credibility to everything you do. And for the amount of time that it takes to publish a book is such a huge type of boost to your business that is so worth it. And you can really knock out a book in under a month, right? If you really wanted to.
Right.
So, and it doesn't have to be a bestseller. It doesn't have to be, a 500-page. What's the name of that?
War and Peace.
War and Peace. Yeah, it doesn't have to be War and Peace. It could be 120 pages. It could be a paperback, but just having it adds a lot of credibility to everything you do.
Right. The funny thing about that, and I think Mike Koning, I think I said his name. I hope I did. Mentioned before about just having books at his hand is that he's able to kind of segue himself into conversations that normally he would not be able to. And I kind of find it an amazing tool still when we're looking at newspapers and such struggling, competing with the internet. Since you're kind of in this field of writing, why is it still a viable resource for people having books?
Well, people like reading books, right? We all our life we've been reading books. Right? We were brought up to know that if you read a book, you'll be smart. Everything you want to know is in the library. Everything you want to know is in books. But nowadays, people also have their tablets, right? They have their Kindle devices.
Right.
Books are electronic as well. So people just like to read, and they believe, rightfully so, that they're advancing themselves by reading and by learning from people that have done things that they want to do as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just how it is.
Huh. So, on a credibility factor, going back to that, is there a certain type of topic that works best for the whole thing of credibility, or is it just if you are the perceived expert of something, it's just advantageous for you to have that book?
You write a book that makes you the expert on that topic. So whatever you're currently doing, you structure that book to position yourself as the expert on that topic. You don't want to be a chiropractor and write a thing like that. Doesn't add anything to your practice. You
Right.
write a book about how to relieve your back pain in 30 days or less. You want your book. You want to use it as a tool that enhances your credibility and your value.
Is there? Let's go into platforms, because that was a really interesting segment that I think more people should kind of gravitate to. When it comes to this whole thing of audience building and using the tools that's out there like YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all these other external things, including email, of course, which you've mentioned before, do you find that any one particular tool or a combination of tools work best, or is it really niche specific?
Well, I mean, the main ones, you don't want to try to use every tool because you won't use any of them effectively.
Right.
So the main ones still work. The YouTubes, the Facebooks, Instagram's probably like a younger audience. If you're doing something real niche specific like cooking, Pinterest is a great place to be. If you're doing something more business to business, LinkedIn is a great place to be. You can start a LinkedIn group. One of the things you could do on LinkedIn is start your own group on that topic and invite people into the group. And then that lets you have a distribution as well, because you can contact people who are in that group right through LinkedIn and turn it like a mass type of broadcast to everybody saying there's new content that's been put up, and you can cipher them off LinkedIn. And really, you want to cipher them off all of those sites and get them onto your own site, get them onto your own blog, get them onto your own email list. So there's people out there that are just social media content providers for free.
Right.
And they're just out there providing content for these social media sites and just keeping them alive and keeping them active. And that's what they are. I mean, Facebook, that's all they do, right? They just created a platform where other people can share content and they could make money off of other people's content.
Right.
That's all Facebook is. That's all Google is. Right? All Google is a network, a site, an index of other people's content, other people's web pages, other people's videos. And they monetize the eyeballs of people coming to look for that content.
Right.
They haven't written anything. They're just the platform, right? The software as a service. Same thing with YouTube. Same thing with Amazon. Amazon doesn't sell books. Amazon lets other people sell books.
Right.
All right. They're starting to get more into retail stuff now too, but that's how they started, as just a software as a service platform. So the point I was trying to make is you want to use the networks for what they're worth and not let them use you. If you're just on there all the time entertaining people with no benefit from it, what's the point?
Right.
But if you're on there networking and on there establishing yourself as an expert and getting people off of those sites onto your own site that you control, off to your own email list that you control, then you're winning. Then you're using them for what they're worth.
And to kind of tag team on that, the whole thing of kind of controlling your own marketplace or traffic or audience or platform, as we say. One of the things that's been really helpful is being able to put yourself or fit yourself into a certain marketplace and kind of etching out your own perspective or opinion that someone can follow. And you can kind of back me up on this, or maybe you might have a different opinion. I'm kind of interested to hear what you think. I believe that it is advantageous to have some type of book or something in your hand or in your possession whenever you're out and about. But I also believe that it's good to be able to get someone's information in exchange. So would you agree that in having, let's say, a physical book in your hand, you can actually use that as a way to kind of build up your audience as well?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You use the physical book, but you get their contact info as well and follow up with them as well. You with the book, you could have your contact information with the book. You could have a business card with attached to that book. There's no reason you can't do that. You probably should do that. But the book gives you that credibility, but you still want to increase your contacts when you're doing network as well and follow up with people. Because what's the point if you don't do that, right? Exactly.
So let's round off on this. Now, one of the things that you do, which I highly admire, is that you try to be a connector with people and their ideas and being in the author world and whatnot. We have the link for everyone to go to for www.swiftkickshow.com/Ron, RON. Let's talk a little bit about this community that people can go to. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about Elite Writers Lab. So what is it, and how does it benefit people?
Right. Elite Writers Lab is a site I started about 2 years ago with the goal of helping writers. It's a community of writers who help writers succeed. We have some very successful writers on there who like to give back and like to give tips. And there are also people who come on there who have questions that they want answered, right? So the best thing you can do is learn from people who have done what you're trying to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a New York Times bestselling author. I'm trying to give back with this interview and help people. I've sold over 1.5 million books. I've published 6 books with Simon & Schuster and 4 books self-published. So I'm up to 10 books myself. So I know the process. I've been doing it for a long time, for over 13 years now. So I'm an example of somebody in Elite Writers Lab who you want to come in and ask questions and rub shoulders with. And there's a bunch of other people as well on there with a lot of credibility who are just doing things that other people want to do. And it's just a great membership and community and kind of like a mastermind group to be part of, and people get a lot of value from it. But there's also ongoing content that we provide to help people learn how to market themselves, market their books, how to build credibility from their books. We do regular interviews and YouTube live hangouts where we bring in experts. We talk about given topics. We do regular online training webinars where people can log on online and learn about different topics for free as part of their membership to Elite Writers Lab. So we just wanted to create a community by writers, for writers, where people can benefit from it.
Excellent. Cool. Ron, thank you again for jumping on the show, man. I really, really appreciate you.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. It was an honor being on the show. Thanks for inviting me.
Thanks, dude. And guys, remember, this is just, some of the things that you get to hear on the Swift Kick Show. And I'm excited for what's happening for 2017. We're about 2 weeks away from the end of the year and 3 weeks into the next year. Wow, we're not that far off. But 2017, we have so many things that's going to happen. So just stay tuned to see what's going on. I have more people. We have more tips. We have more of everything. So I will check you guys later on.